Legitimately, like, what is this phrase? Like, you keep on talking about forgiveness. Oh, you gotta forgive. And it's like, realistically, what does that even remotely mean? Like, that, what is forgiveness? What is forgiveness? And people be talking about it from so many different type of perspectives. But we talking about that we gotta forgive. And for me personally, I'm looking at forgiveness kind of like through the eyes of God. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying it in the sense that obviously I'm not God or nothing like that. When I'm talking about forgiveness from the eyes of God, when we talk about forgiveness and it comes to people, when people are talking about forgiveness and God is not in the equation, it's like a lot of times when people be talking about forgiveness between humans and the groundwork that we base our ideas on forgiveness is on a humanistic type of ground level. In other words, it's the ability for people to continuously stay in your life or you stay in other people's life or whatever the case may be, but essentially the person that is the one that's being that's given the forgiveness, it's almost like in a lot of ways it could be taken as a weakness because people they'll keep on trespassing over it because God is not at the basic level as to why we're understanding forgiveness. So like when it's human to human, like the idea and the concept of forgiveness is in a lot of ways is it is overridden by human nature in the sense that I can forgive and forgive and forgive, but if a person is they can say sorry all day and they can say, oh man, I ain't gonna never do it, but it's like sometimes a lot of people they only care about their damn self. They only care about what makes them feel good. So they will keep on trespassing over somebody. And then again, God ain't at the base level. And so when they're like doing something wrong, they're like, oh well, half the people like I go do it again is because that person gonna forgive me anyway. So why not? Why not? I'm gonna go do it again. And there's other people that like they might they're selfish and they're more malicious with their selfishness. And so that's like, oh yeah, this person's stupid. I'm gonna keep on doing whatever I'm doing to them because they keep on forgiving me. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like that's the basal level of when God ain't in the mix. So that like for a lot of people, some people, there are a lot of people like they are like grateful and they understand the importance, but there's a lot of other people they only see forgiveness in the state of weakness because they truly don't understand because God ain't at their basal level. God ain't at their forefront. So if you are an individual and you understand the importance of forgiveness, whereas you're around others who don't understand the importance of forgiveness, they don't have that God aspect to it, the spiritual aspect of it. It's like they take it for granted. They don't understand the price. That's why it's like you can't give what is holy to dogs. Sometimes you can't give forgiveness, and actually forgiveness is multifaceted. Forgiveness and reconciliation, two completely different things, because you can forgive all day but that doesn't mean that you reconcile. And of course people gonna have attitudes with you, and of course people gonna make it seem as though that you in the wrong, or of course people gonna make it seem as though you just a heartless cold-hearted person when you don't reconcile with them. Because what their thought process is of forgiveness is you reconcile with them, meaning that you get back into a relationship and things go all the way back to normal. You allow them right back in, and then they keep on doing the same thing. And again, this could be certain individuals that you keep forgiving and they keep doing it and they keep doing it and they keep doing it over and over and over and over and over again. And so when you not reconciling, you seeing what it is, you might forgive them but you don't reconcile. People will look at you like something is wrong with you, acting like you cold-hearted, like you did something wrong, because you will not reconcile as well as forgive. um, in the same vein, because you can forgive people that, but you don't reconcile, meaning you don't go back to the relationship, and the relationship goes back to normal. But people will make it seem as though that you don't forgive, and it's like, no, you recognize that everybody does not look at forgiveness with that basic level where God is. And what I mean with it is people, they don't understand the importance of why you forgive them or why you give them another chance. They don't understand the importance of it. They take it for granted. Sometimes they take it for granted until they no longer have it. And so when I'm talking about with that base level, so when God is actually in the mix, you understand, you'll look at forgiveness from the perspective of, I'm going to forgive people because I need forgiveness. I'm going to ensure, like, I give mercy to other people because I need it too. Like, what makes me any better than the next man? I sin just like the next man. So it's like, how can I expect God to forgive me if I don't forgive other people? You understand what I'm saying? Like, how can I, even not even necessarily with God, but how can I get other people? How can they? How can I expect other people when I trespassed against them? How can I expect them to forgive me if I don't forgive other people that that trespass against me? You know what I'm saying? You have that understanding. You have the long term thought process of why you're giving forgiveness. But other people who don't have God at that basic level, they have a short term. Like they only thinking about immediate gratification, like right here, right. They only see the small picture. They don't see the big picture. They don't see the whole thing. That's why oftentimes these people, they will take that stuff for granted. They'll take forgiveness, and everybody does it. So it's like nobody is, but oftentimes you learn when you learn at times when you did something wrong and you did it wrong and wrong and wrong, you get when you get into situations where you don't have any more mercy, people don't forgive you or whatever the case may be, and then you got to deal with the pain of losing something, losing somebody, or being in situations that you do not want to be in. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they got to go to prison for however long. When you go through those situations, you understand the value of forgiveness. You understand the value of mercy. You understand the value of these things. But when people are not held to that standard, or people do not go, or you could be forgiving them, and then things just keep on going back to normal. They see that stuff as weakness, and people, they don't understand the value of the forgiveness. They don't have God at the basic level, so it's all about what makes them feel good at the moment. And so naturally, they're gonna keep on making decisions. They're not thinking about the future. They're not thinking about what the long term ramifications are of what they're doing, because they're thinking like just right here, right now, what makes me feel good right here, right now, and then I can get good with this person later. They're not thinking about it. But with you might be thinking about the long term picture of it. I'm not forgiving you from a sign of weakness. I'm not forgiving you because of this or this. I'm forgiving you because I need forgiveness. I'm forgiving you because I understand that like everybody make mistakes. I'm not trying to sit here and trying to whatever the case may be, but I forgive, but I damn sure am not gonna reconcile. I forgive, but I damn sure won't forget. And this is where people, they get upset and they get angry about, um, you know, however you treat them. They will get angry. They would get angry, but it's like they just got to get angry. But just to go back to this point, when God is at that basic level or the basal level, you. What I mean with the basal level is you stand forgiveness on top of Him. You do it because of Him. You understand what I'm saying? Like, and what I mean with that is you forgive because you want to be forgiven. You understand the importance of forgiveness. You understand the long term benefits of forgiving people who have trespassed against you. You understand what I'm saying? But the thing is, there's a degree in which that you gotta, use forgiveness. Again, forgiveness is a spectrum. Sometimes forgiveness is somebody trespassed against you, or you did it against somebody, and then y'all whatever, and then y'all make up, and then y'all all good again. And then the other side of the spectrum is people get cut off without an explanation, and then you're done with them. It doesn't mean that you harboring any negativity towards these people, but you're done with them. That is my forgiveness. I forgive you, but I'll never let you around. I'll never let you around me another day in my life. I won't even let you, I won't even open up a communication. Like no, and it's like some people will put somebody in a grave. You know what I'm saying? But it's like no, I'm not even gonna do all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm going to leave this person completely. Whatever they did, I understand they did it for whatever reason, but it's a done deal. The level at which whatever they did is just way too much. It's no reconciliation. There's no reconciliation whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't got no hate towards them. You ain't harboring no ill will towards these individuals or nothing like that. Ain't nothing got to do with none of that stuff. But it's like it gets to a point where it's like people want to act like it's almost like you brought a big old lion in your house, and the lion mauled you, nearly killed you, and everything like that. And the people that do wrong towards you or doing all these transgressions, they're equivalent to the lion. And so when you recognize that you have a lion in your house, and regardless of how good you treat that lion, regardless of how you move, a lion is still a lion. A lion is going to do whatever it wants. A lion is just going to, sometimes they're going to attack for whatever reason that they attack. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't demonize the lion. You don't necessarily even hate the lion. It ain't got nothing to do with it, but you understand the harm that this lion can cause if you allow it into your house, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So yes, you don't necessarily harbor any ill will against a lion. You don't hate it. You forgive the lion, hell, even maybe because it mauled you. But in the same vein, it damn near killed you. Why in the world would you logically? Why in the world would you then turn around and bring that same lion or another lion back into your home when you just know like what the hell just happened. But this is how people will act. Again, they're the equivalent of the lion. But this is how they will act as though you're something is wrong with you, you moving funny, and they are literally the one that nearly just killed you. They just mauled you. And they're making it seem as though that you're in the wrong or you did something wrong or you don't forgive them, you're cold hearted, you're this, you're that, because you won't allow the lion to come back into your house and roam free. Like silly, stupid, silly. Half of these people really do think that you are in the wrong. Half of these people really do think something that you cold hearted and that you just evil or just whatever the case may be because you don't allow the damn lion back into your house. The other half know that you is in the right, but they don't care. They just want whatever they want. But see, this is what I'm talking about with the level of forgiveness. Because yes, you can forgive, but you damn sure should never ever forget. You should damn sure no. You got to understand what the value that people see in forgiveness and how they look at forgiveness. Again, if people ain't looking at forgiveness with God, like they not standing on the top of God. And what I'm saying when they got to stand on top of God, I'm saying it in the sense that they see and they understand the long term picture. They understand the long term benefit, and they not just trying to hustle you. They not just trying to say something to make you feel like they understand, but they gonna keep on doing whatever they doing. No. What I'm saying is people truly understand that forgiveness is standing on top of God. It's not standing on top of what humans say. Because every human, if they just standing on top of what humans say, no human is better than the next human. And what I mean is that is everybody has everybody has a philosophy, especially in America in 2024. Everybody got a philosophy about every doggone thing. So y'all not on the same page. So as a result, people will do something wrong to you, and they really legitimately will have an attitude with you, or think that you're doing something or you in the wrong because you don't forgive them how they want you to forgive them. You see what I'm saying? It's people out here, they expect to do all the dirt in the world, do all the evil in the world towards you. And then they turn around and expect you just to allow them back into your life. The crazy thing is, when it happens on the opposite side, they don't forgive. It's World War III. They coming for blood for the people that trespass them. But then they want the very same individuals. They wanted to switch around. They just want all the mercy in the world. You see what I'm talking about? They not standing on God. They standing on whatever the hell they as a human want it to be. This humanistic point of view. And if you standing on what a human wants it to be, what way of forgiveness and thought process of forgiveness from one human is better than the next? Is it because of skin color? Is it because one is male, one is female? Is it because one is taller than the other? What exactly is the parameter, and which one makes the other one more legit than the other? There is no legitimacy. It's like walking into a classroom full of kids, and one kid is trying to exert power over the other kids, and the other kids ain't listening. Of course not. They on the same level. Why would they? That's the equivalence that I'm talking about. But when you're standing on top of God, it's equivalent to the teacher coming in, and the teacher is the one that's establishing order. You see what I'm saying? And so when you understand, when you get to that point, what I'm talking about is, yes, people understand, like when they understand forgiveness, they understand the value of it. They understand how you don't have to give forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to forgive people for whatever they have done against you, but you do it with the understanding that everybody make mistakes. You do it with the understanding that, okay, well, we can work on certain type of things, and it could potentially even build the relationship that we got. But if people don't understand the value of forgiveness, if they don't understand the value of it, they not standing on top of God. They're gonna just screw you over. They're gonna drag you through the mud, up and down, up and down the doggone street, up and down the world. And then you're gonna be the one in the pain. You're gonna be the one that's and you trying to plead out to people and talk about like what they're doing and how their actions is and how you're forgiving them, and then they just looking at it and spitting on it and like acting like they don't care. They acting like it's not a big deal. They acting like it's nothing at all, and that's where your forgiveness is now being used as a weakness against you. And sometimes that's the hard conclusion that you got to come to, because you realize everybody, they don't look at forgiveness in the same way that you do. Some people will really, really, truly think that you're a weak person, you stupid, and you gullible, and you naive, and you whatever, because you have forgiven them. You got to understand that they will cry up and down. Shed crocodile tears. They will make all these declarations and pretend to be something completely different than what they are to try to show like their love for you or whatever the situation is. But they will look at you as a goofy if you actually fall into it and then you actually forgive them. I'm talking about these people are working overtime. They work. It's like a whole full time job that they're trying to do to try to convince you that they are sorry and they're trying to change their ways. And if you were to give in to it, these people, they look at you as a goofy. This is what I'm talking about. They look at you, you're stupid because they're about to drag you again, is what they thinking in their head. That's what some people are like. That's what they're like because their forgiveness is based off of what they can get off of you right now. So they thinking if I can get some stuff up out of you, if I can do this, this, and this, and this, and then you forgive me, and then you allow me back in, and I can keep on benefiting them up off of you, you stupid. You stupid. You know what I'm saying? I know that might sound harsh, but I'm telling you, that's what people's mindset is. That's what their mindset is, because their idea of forgiveness is based more likely off of them personal. Again, they don't even believe in the concept of forgiveness. They don't understand it. They don't understand it. They think it's stupid. They think it's stupidity. They think it's a weakness. They think that's what they think. And so they'll show you countless times about how they don't even value the forgiveness that you do give. And that's why it's so important to understand where's people's mindset when they're talking about forgiveness and they want forgiveness and stuff like that. Actually, let me say this. Let me back this up. You need to forgive. In everything you do in life, you need to forgive. And the reason being is because you're releasing what the toxic feeling. Oftentimes when we're trying to when someone has done us wrong, we're more so focused on that person, a comparison to the spirit behind that person, in comparison to like what that person represented, if that kind of makes sense. And because we're so focused on it was one person or it was two people or it was a whatever, when we're focused just on that, we keep on missing out is because we're missing the point that it was not necessarily the people that we were fighting against. It was the spirit in those people. Because I guarantee you, you can drop those individuals and then you'll go on to the next person and the next people will be just like the same ones that you just left. And you're like, what's going on? Then you go on to the next one and those people are just like the last two. And then you'll keep on going in this repetitive cycle. You don't understand why. It's the spirit in people that you're not recognizing. It's not necessarily the people themselves, if that kind of makes sense. And so when you understand that, you'll be able to protect yourself against people in general because you're not looking purely at what they look like. You're not looking at what y'all bond is together, like y'all blood or where y'all come from. Y'all might have the same skin tone or whatever the case may be. If you looking primarily at that, you're gonna get drugged by the world because that spirit is going to keep on intermingling. That spirit is going to keep on popping up in new individuals that you engage with of some kind, some situation. It's going to keep on. That's why you can be like, why am I keep on going through the same thing? You're not recognizing it's the spirit. It's the spirit. And so when you understand it's the spirit, you don't necessarily take things as personal no more. You forgive, but you recognize people are like lions. They're like lions roaming in your house, and they've already shown you that they will maul you regardless of who they are. And so as a result, you realize, okay, I got to take precautions. You got to understand that like forgiveness is like releasing these people without necessarily harboring the resentment towards those individuals in of themselves. Again, it's like imagine you had a lion, you took one lion out and you threw him out, and then you got another lion, and then that lion did the exact same thing. You think I would throw out that lion, the third lion you bring it in does the exact same thing. And you like, man, it's just these lions that are bad. No, you don't recognize it's the nature of the damn beast. It's the nature of the beast. It's the spirit within that beast that you keep on missing. And so, with that being said, when you forgive people, the forgiveness is like you're releasing that animosity towards that individual. You're releasing whatever that hatred or that resentment that you have towards that individual. And even heck, sometimes the forgiveness is to yourself. You're releasing that because you feel like you got played. You feel like you was stupid and you was gullible enough to allow somebody to come in. You were gullible enough to let a lion come into your house. So oftentimes it's giving yourself grace too, and understanding that people they do things not necessarily because of who you are. They do it because of who they are. But you do have to understand that hey, you allow those individuals to come into you allow the lion to come into your house, And so it's not about condemning you, it's about understanding your power. Because you now understand, you now have the power to not allow the lions back into your house. If you only blame the lion, you're going to keep on allowing the lion to come back into your house, and then you'll only blame the lion, not recognizing you're blaming the beast is just who they are. The lion is who it is. That the spirit of that person is what it is. It's nothing personal necessarily against you. So when you grasp that concept, you'll start to take things as personal, because you'll still see the people that did you dirty. It don't they just because they did you dirty doesn't mean that they not about to go do other people dirty too. It's not like they not about to go out there and drag other people too. They more than likely have a habit of this stuff, and it's because it's the spirit inside these people, not necessarily that you know. It's more so the spirit inside of the person. Does that mean that you don't have to work on yourself? Does that not? Oftentimes, people are a reflection about who we are and what we do and what we do not. What we do and what we do not, and we have to like kind of like work on when we looking at ourselves. What I mean is like their reflection. Because if you got a person that came in that was extremely narcissistic people, they look at the certain people, they come in for a certain reason, and they pick people or who are who have certain qualities on purpose. So it's a big mirror that they're showing you about a lot about who you are as an individual. And again, it's not nothing negative, necessarily negative about you, but it's in understanding, okay, I got to work on myself. But people who are bitter or people who do not understand the true value of forgiveness, they're still blaming that person. They blame it in comparison to understanding that they were the ones that allowed that person in the first place, based off of whatever they're going through, based off of whatever they were the one that allowed them in based off of their personal traumas. Whether or not they did anything wrong, they didn't. They're not recognizing they still allowed the person to come in. You didn't do anything wrong when the lion came and mauled you inside your house. But the thing that you did wrong sometimes is you allowed that lion in. Why? It's because you're not recognizing that this is a lion. You trying to take a lion and act like it's a puppy dog, or trying to change the lion to a puppy dog, or change the lion to a cat, a little house cat. You're trying to change the lion into something it's not. And once you recognize that, you realize that it's not necessarily these people that was necessarily the problem. It was you, in the sense that you didn't realize the nature of the beast. And so you are able to forgive. It's not easy. And it's not to say that you ain't gonna have no animosity toward, or like still have some feelings toward people that did you wrong. That's natural. But you in time you'll get like, okay, it happened. It happened. And it made me have to go through a lot of like hurt and pain and stuff. But it's a blessing in the sense that, you know, um, now that I realize the pain, and now that I realize more about myself and why I allow people in and the nature of certain individuals, okay, next time, this is how I'm gonna move. I'm going to move, and I'm gonna move in wisdom, not fear. A lot of people, yet again, I don't think it's necessarily that they truly forgive people, or they don't truly forgive themselves. It's because they move and they operate in fear in comparison to that of wisdom. And what I mean with fear in comparison to that of wisdom, when you are fearful, you thinking that everybody's gonna be the same way, and you're extremely guarded in a lot of ways. You're ready to pounce, and you're ready to stab, and you're ready for people to kind of like pop their head off, and show you, show that evilness. You thinking everybody's the same, and so you might still pick certain individuals thinking that everybody's the same. In comparison to when you're moving in wisdom, you see those qualities, you see those traits, you see certain things that you already realize. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with that. And I'm not moving in a space where I'm necessarily afraid of what is out there. I'm now watching, and I'm seeing certain qualities, traits, and things that I already know, what's attached to a certain person, or like certain personality. You see what I'm talking about? Now that, if you in your house and a lion walks up, or that it has like traits like a lion, it has a mane, it's roaring, it walks in a certain type of way, that's a lion. That's a lion. Are you afraid? No. You recognize, I don't want no more lions in my life. So you send the lion on its way, understanding that there's other creatures out there that is more compatible. You want a house cat, you want a dog, you want this. I know I'm going all over with this lion a synonym, but you know what I'm talking about. You see the qualities and the traits. So you move in wisdom and you understand, even if you were to keep a lion, you understand how a lion will do, what the lion will do, and like, how it will move. And you understand how to protect yourself. You're not afraid. It's not about fear. It's about understanding what's out there in the world in comparison to those who live in a state of fear, who make decisions based off of fear. They think all that stuff is the same. They're gonna keep on letting lions into their house, but they're just guarding themselves against lions because they're missing the point. They're missing the point. They're missing it. But that forgiveness is you're allowing it to you releasing it. You're releasing it because as long as you got harbor all that hate and that resentment and that anger, which is justifiable towards a person that crossed you or something like that, these people they have power over you. They have power over you and they control you. And you will live in a state of fear. You're going to start moving based off of how whoever hurt you or harmed you, you're going to move based off of those individuals and their characteristics and stuff like that. So when you're meeting new people or you interacting with new people, you're only looking at it from the lens of what that old person had done towards you. You're moving and operating in the space of fear. And this might be a little bit difficult to truly understand what I'm talking about. But people who have been to that other side, they understand what I'm talking about. But when you don't actually forgive, what happens is that you become very bitter a lot of times. You become very angry, resentful, and you start to fall into this deep, dark depression. Now you're starting to push all people away. And you're not recognizing that there are people out here that are actually healthy and whole. That everybody's not the same and everybody's no, 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 no. It was at a time in your life where you didn't recognize whatever you saw. You came in contact with something that had really damn near broke you, that really hurt you. If it could have broken you completely, and you might have anger, resentment, and hate, and there's all this internal trauma. And as long as you don't go through that trauma and you don't work through all that stuff, you think everybody's the same way, and you only gonna deal with certain individuals, or you're gonna start to recluse as much as possible and start pushing everybody away. And you're moving in a state of fear, not wisdom. And now because you're doing that, it's like you're in a space where you cannot manifest, you cannot really truly be your authentic, your full authentic self, your creative self, or whatever the case may be. You stay in a state of depression. And I know I've been through it. I know other people have been through that type of stuff too. But it's in like the forgiveness and understanding like people, the things that people did to you wasn't necessarily always because of yourself. It was because of who they were. It's because of what they was going through. It's because of all whatever, whatever. And so as a result, you might love people, and but you recognize you can't change them. You can't change them, and you recognize, okay, this is who people are, and now you gotta love people from a distance. You gotta back away and allow whatever to unfold, and you doing it in the spite of forgiveness. You're not doing it in the space of bitterness. But a lot of people they do it from a place of when people do it, they do it from a place of bitterness, and it's like they can't move forward in life. They don't realize that unforgiveness and all that stuff is like holding you down. It's like a big chain, a big rock that's like attached to you. And so I know everything I'm saying is it's easier said than done, in the sense that, like, how do you even get through all that stuff? How do you go through that trauma? How do you actually really forgive people and stuff like that? Again, you got to understand the long term picture of it, and you got to stand on it from the basis of God, from the basis, not from the basis of, oh, I'm gonna just do this from here. When I say with the basis of God, you got to understand that people gonna do you wrong even though you did nothing wrong to them, and they will trespass against you, and you are victimized. You were a victim in a lot of the cases. And so yes, you want to probably get your get back. You want some type of justice and stuff like that. But understand, sometimes, man, the justice that you will get from a lot of people is you getting up and moving on in your life and actually truly being happy and being productive. I'm telling you, a lot of times that is your revenge. It's not even going back and forth with these people and trying to get them back from what they did to you. That stuff will consume you. You trying to sit there and trying to get revenge on people and stuff like that. That stuff was going to consume you. I'm telling you, and you got to understand how people work, how that damn devil work. People put you in drama on purpose. They try to hurt you and crush you on purpose. And some people, they can be very successful in what the hurt that they do towards you. But people do that stuff on purpose, so you always going back and forth with them. Some people, they want to hurt you so doggone badly. They want to hurt you so badly that you'll never, ever, ever get over it. That you will forever, like you will forever act a certain type of way because of what they've done to you. Like that's a trophy to people. They don't want you to get up and go with somebody else. They want you as broken as possible. People are that evil and vindictive, in that, like, malicious, and you could have never done anything to them. Like they will see you as happy, and they will proactively come in and try to tear down your whole damn stuff, your life. And then if they are able to succeed in that stuff, do you understand that these people, they get gratification off of that? You might have not heard or talked to this person 10, 20, 50 years. You think that this person never even really think about you or anything like that? That's a damn lie. People will they'll be sitting there, and I'm telling you, this is anybody. This is any relationship. They will sit there, watch you on social medias and other stuff, and be sitting back in the cut. You might not ever know that they're there, but they're there, and they feel extremely good that you're still broken. And watch what happens when you actually start to get back up and get back on your feet and actually forgive them. And with the forgiveness is that you let them go. Oftentimes with the forgiveness too is you might sometimes want some type of apology. You want some type of closure from people. You got to understand, yet again, people, they will never give you closure. People who are manipulative and vindictive, and they actually really want to hurt you and stuff like that, they will never give you closure. They will never give you closure. And giving you closure is releasing the power that they have over you. The closure, you want somebody to come back and say sorry. You want somebody to come back and say how good you were in whatever dynamic that y'all had. You want somebody to come back and actually admit what they did. And that stuff keeps you in a space of bitterness, is because you feel like your justice comes when these people come back and they tell you what it is, and they give you the closure that you need in order to move forward. But I'm telling you, you'll never get it. Your enemies will never ever give you that doggone validation or whatever type of closure that you're expecting from people. They will never give it to you. You got to understand that they know that that's their power that they have over you. That's one of the last powers that they have over you, especially even if you haven't seen them in years. They know that that's your last, but they siphon all that negativity or that energy and all that stuff. They siphon it off of you even from afar. And I know that might sound far fetched for some people, but I'm telling you, that's what it is. They it's like they siphon your vital life force off of you, and you haven't even heard from them or seen them in years. You don't even think that they're watching you, but they are. But they are. They're watching you, and they're gleeful if you're in this depressed, dark, sunken place. That gives them gratification. It's like they're like a demon sucking your doggone energy away from you. They will never give you closure. Never. Because they lose a lot of times that's their last bit of power that they have over you. And so with that being said, when I'm saying you gotta understand people are who they are, you got to understand that sometimes it's not even necessarily personal what people have done to you, and people, they show a mirror. They're a mirror. They're a reflection of you. And so with that being said, once you actually like realize you don't need you don't need the closure. You don't need these things that you think that people need to come back and give you, like an apology or tell them, admit that you were beneficial in their life or something like that. You don't need those things, because that is the last bit of power that some people have over you. How do you get the closure? Understand again, people are who they are. Sometimes people are playing a facade, and they were not what they made themselves out to be. They made you think that you were the evil one, you're the villain, and you know you're not. And you want the validation that from from the person, that person's mouth, and they're not going to give it to you. So you have to be confident enough in your life and confident enough in yourself to know, you know what? I wasn't the best person, but I did the best that I can in that family. I did the best that I can in that relationship, at that workplace, in that community, at that church organization, in whatever organization. I did my best. I wasn't perfect, but you understand nobody else is perfect. In the same vein that you made mistakes, everybody else was making mistakes too. Thing is, if you knew that you was doing your best to do your best to try to work on it and move forward, understand sometimes it's not you that was the doggone problem. But that's not to say that you didn't necessarily need to work on yourself. That doesn't mean that you didn't have to work on aspects of your life. But the people that you have that have hurt you, that have came in and did all this manner of evil towards you, that you need to forgive, They were a reflection of the things that you might have needed to work on. And see, that's the biggest thing. Because once you realize that, again, you'll get to a space where you realize, I don't need these people's closure. I don't need nobody to come back and tell me that I was in the right and they was in whatever. I don't need nobody to come back and tell me that I was beneficial in their life. I don't need all that stuff. I know what I did and I know what I didn't do. And so as a result, I'm going to take what I did. I'm going to take those lessons. I'm going to take those L's. I'm going to work on the things that I know I did wrong or whatever the case may be. I'm trying to do better for the next situation that I find myself in. And when you start to get up and you start to move forward like this and you really start to release people over time, this stuff takes time. It takes time. It takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not just going to wake up tomorrow and it's going to be all good. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort on your part. But when you do it, you again will start to realize you don't need no closure. You don't need it. And guess what's going to happen once you realize that you don't need it no more? Guess what is magically going to happen? Those very same individuals that hurt you, watch how they start to run up after you. Out of nowhere. Where did they come from? Again, they were watching you the entire time. They were watching you. So all of a sudden, now that you are in a better place, you're starting to move forward in life and you are actually releasing them. It's almost like some type of, again, they siphon the energy off of you. Again, it's like some in some way, shape, or form, some supernatural force, some type of spiritual force, where these people recognize that you no longer care. You no longer are worried about whatever happened with you and them. I'm telling you, it's creepy. And guess who will start running up after you? Guess who? That's that damn devil trying to pull you right back into that dynamic, trying to pull you right back in. People come back just to break you again and then run off again and watch you in the distance with their binoculars. Anytime you rise up to a point where you almost about to walk free, that devil's gonna send those very same individuals that did some type of hurt, wrong, or harm towards you, and you're most vulnerable. He's going to send them right back so you don't get too far. So that now, boom, you interact with these people, this family, this workplace, these whoever it is, and they break you right again, and then they go run off and watch you with their binoculars. And if they ever see you, they're gonna keep on repeating this cycle. I'm telling you, that's the damn devil's trick. And so, in the forgiveness is you start to release what people have done and understand that like you wasn't perfect, but other people weren't perfect either. Understanding that everything was not necessarily you, and that you don't need people's validation or you don't need them to come back and give you closure. That is a lot of times that's your biggest test in life, if you can let these people go, because you got to recognize and realize, and please understand me and understand me well. People understand that closure is their greatest power over you. They will never give it to you. They would never give it to you. They will never give it to you. You got to understand that that is the way that they siphon power off of you. And as long as you want people to come back and give you whatever you want, they have power and control over you. And when you start to get up and you start to like actually start to release people, that devil will send them right back inside. I don't know if it's God or the devil, but one of the two. But a lot of times, I'm no God. Sometimes I test you, but that devil will send people right back into your doggone retinue to see, to break you yet again, to get in and break you again. Now you got even more trauma. You might feel even more depressed because you feel like you got duped another time by somebody or people or whatever. So, but with all that being said, that forgiveness is starting to release people and really forgive them in the sense that they are who they are and they're broken so half the time. They did lie, they cheated, they stole, they did whatever they did. And understanding that in the same vein, you know what? Like you forgive them in the sense that you ain't gonna harbor all that stuff necessarily against them, but that doesn't mean that you reconcile with them. That doesn't mean that they come back into your life. That doesn't even mean that you start talking to them. Oftentimes you need to release these people for good, because if they did this stuff that broke you that badly, half of these people know what they're doing. They're not there. I'm telling you, don't let people play you. That stuff, again, it keeps you in a space of stagnation in your life. It keeps you where you have a weakened power base. It's because now you keep on believing in the lies of other people, acting like they ain't know what they was doing. They know exactly what they're doing. People know exactly what they're doing. They know what they're doing. And you might know that, and that again is why you're in a place of bitterness, because you mad. Because why don't this person just tell the truth? Why don't they just admit it? Because if they admit it, they're going to lose power over you. That's why they won't ever admit it. That is the game. So that's why you got to understand it and forgive people for yourself, not for them. It's not about them, it's about you. Not holding on to the things that other people have done to you. You got to imagine it like, again, it's like you're holding on to a rope and these people are running on a horse. They're on top of a horse and you're holding on to the rope. It's hurting you. As long as you don't forgive them, it's not hurting them, it's hurting you. And again, half of these people, man, they know that you're watching. They know that you're bitter for something that they did. And then they will rub it in your face in different ways. They will rub it up in your face in different ways. And that might make you even madder. It will piss you off even more. And you're more and more angry. And I'm telling you, people do stuff like this stuff on purpose. It's intentional. That's why you really got to let people go. You start to let it go in the sense that release it. Understand people did do something wrong towards you, but in the same vein, you gotta recognize that people, they broken, they hurt, and everything like that. Like, they not whole. They do that evil stuff towards you is because they got all that evil inside of them. It makes them feel good to see somebody else in a place of misery, and they just hate their life. They hate themselves. Like, people be doing this type of stuff. They hate themselves. They not in a good space. They not actually whole. They not none of these things. And you sitting there trying to get it out of these people. It's like you got to understand how fake people can be and how they putting on facades. They putting on an act. They putting on an image to pretend so they can get up under people's skins and so they can keep on running and hiding. So you give yourself the I'm sorry. You give yourself the whatever you want from people or whatever closure you want. You give it to yourself. That will aid you in helping you to forgive them and release these people. Release them in your, and it takes time. It's gonna take time. It's gonna take time. But it's like when you work through that trauma that it calls towards you, you recognize, yes, no, I wasn't the perpetrator, but I had a part to play in it. I had a part to play in it. And this person actually just showed a reflection. They showed me the mirror of who I was at that period in time. And so, with that being said, I understand now where the areas I need to work so I don't have to find myself in this very same position that I was just now, or with these last individuals, or whatever your situation is. Sometimes God will take you through, or allow you to go through hell, so that you'll know what you want and what you do not want. You gotta sometimes go through hell to understand the value of peace. You understand what I'm saying? And one of the biggest things to start to establish that peace is to forgive based off of God, not based off of man and what man interpretation of forgiveness is. Because man interpretation will tell you you need to go over there and just reconcile and allow a lion right back into your house. People will play you for a fool. They will play God against you if they can. Oh, God said you should forgive. Yes, I do forgive you. Well, forgiveness and reconciliation does not mean the same thing. It does not mean the same thing. You are a lion. You are a cancer in my life. You are toxic to the whole bone. I will be a fool to allow you right anywhere nearby me again. Like, people, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like you will be a fool to allow a lion right back into your house that just, and like, it's a different lion, but nevertheless it's a lion from the same jungle. So it's almost like you'll be the foolish one to allow another lion or this very same lion back into your house, hoping for another. No, they have already shown you what it is, regardless of who they are. They've shown you what it was. And so, with that being said, you understand, okay, that's who they are. That's because of what they got going on inside, but they ain't got nothing to do with me. And if they don't want to, and they don't want to change their act, it's all good. He said, "Oh, it's all good and grandy," but it ain't gonna be with me. And sometimes I think, again, a biggest thing is with the forgiveness is when, if you were to actually forgive and let go, that let go part is hard. You know what I'm saying? Because let go might be family, let go might be a friend or something like that. Let go might be a romantic partner. Let go. So in keeping that animosity, it's also like keeping a connection to that individual. And sometimes you might want that individual back in some way, shape, or form. But that's again why that damn devil was sitting there. When you start to do better in your life and stuff like that, and actually start to really let people go and start to work through whatever you're going through before you ever even get to a good significant stage, here come that damn devil with that individual or those people again. Here they come, but you don't let it in this time. You don't judge yourself for what you have done in the past necessarily, in the sense that you got to understand you make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. Ain't nobody perfect. So you forgive yourself and give yourself grace. Sometimes, yes, you got bamboozled by somebody or individuals or groups or whatever your situation is. Yes, everybody goes through those things. Everybody plays the fool. Not a damn person on this earth don't play the fool at one point in time in your life. The thing is, a lot of people, they hide and they play and they act like they Superman and they Jesus 2.0, and that they don't go through things, and they have never been a fool. They're some goddamn liars. They're liars, and so you gotta ground yourself in understanding this. That people just hide. Their greatest power, the devil's greatest power, is the illusion, and this is exactly what these people do on a daily basis. So you don't need to fret and you don't need to worry. If you've done good in people's lives and you've done all these things, it's not to say that you ain't gonna ain't gonna have hardships in your life and stuff like that. But trust and believe me, people, they did. If you done good in people's lives and you actually was good and you was rocking with them, understand these people will always try to come back. They don't find people like that all over the place. If you was genuine, you was real, and you was giving all these things, and these people, they crossed you or something like that, trust and believe me, they will always be back. They will always be back. They're trying to siphon up off of you, but also they're not going to find people like that. They're not. They will put on and act as though that you have no worth, no value, or nothing like that, so they can get you for the free. They could put you in a clearance rack, and you don't even know your real true value because you got somebody over here that's making you feel like that you're not nothing, and they do that stuff on purpose to break you down. That's what they do. And all that, understand again, you got to understand the selfishness of people and understanding like how they move and how they get down, and you forgive them for yourself. You forgive them because you, in the same vein, you have wronged other people. And how many times in your life did you wronged other people that you wanted a second chance? But again, it doesn't mean that you let these people back into your life necessarily based on what they did. Absolutely not. If they did something extremely heinous and vindictive and it crossed you in a certain type of way, absolutely not. It's not. That's a lion. You don't let a lion back into your house. But it's other people that you might be able to work through things through. But it's like, if those people ain't sincere and they ain't genuine, and sometimes it takes time for you to understand this, they're gonna do it again. But then you gotta release people. And so, but then also, don't judge yourself if you got bamboozled. You gotta learn that. Chalk it up to the game, and you gotta learn that lesson. You gotta learn it. But the forgiveness aspect is for you. You gotta forgive people. But forgiveness and reconciliation is two completely different things. You can forgive and never talk to a human being another day in your life. And that's just period. You don't need to sit there and be buddy buddy with people, smile, fake, act like everything is cool. You ain't gotta do all that. You ain't gotta go over there to functions and stuff like that, and mingle and do all this stuff because you feel like you obligated and stuff like that. Because people talking about always, you ain't gotta do all that. You ain't gotta talk to certain people. You ain't gotta do none of that stuff. You ain't gotta do a goddamn thing. You ain't gotta do nothing, but you ain't gotta do nothing but die. Basically, that's all you gotta do. And people, they like to say, "Oh no, you need to do this and da 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 da." I ain't doing a goddamn thing. I ain't doing nothing. If that stuff do not, if people got negative energy of any kind and all this stuff, and if they've crossed me, especially in a certain type of way, it's like no, no. And it is like sometimes, like the thing is, again, here's another thing with it. But sometimes you do have to be extremely like cold hearted with people. You cold hearted not in the sense that you ain't got love for these people. You cold hearted in the sense that like it's a done deal. That's a wolf. So it's a lion in your house. You don't play around with certain people. Extremely cold hearted. They're repeat offenders. They're not going to respect it. They just don't respect the value of that forgiveness. They don't understand the value of it. But again, these people, they're short term thinkers. They don't think long term. They only thinking about right here, right now. Right here, right now. So you really got to gauge people and understand like what their understanding of forgiveness is. Truthful forgiveness. Because if it's not standing on God, people have different interpretation of what forgiveness is. And I trust and believe me, all those interpretations is going to benefit them, not you. When it's about God, God ain't got. It's like justice is truly blind when people are standing on forgiveness with God, in the sense that yeah, you forgive everybody, but you still have the discretion to intrude or include certain individuals or people in general in your life. You don't even have to take in consideration what they got to say about a damn thing. If they gonna talk, let them talk. They didn't talk. I mean, they want to talk so much once they get cut off and act like they're such a victim. But when they was in your life, what was they doing towards you? How was they harming you? How was they coming across you? What ill will was they doing towards you that was unprovoked and that was unnecessary towards you? They didn't care then. They didn't care a damn thing about what your opinion was. They didn't care about what you was hurting, and they don't give a damn about none of that stuff. They was laughing, geeky, hee hee, cackling, and giggling, thinking stuff is funny, thinking that it was smooth, it was a sweet deal. But then when you show them what it is, you cut them off and you cold hearted with it. Now people got another tune, act like you did something dirty with them. Let them feel like you did something dirty to them. Let them feel however they want to feel. You ain't gotta convince a damn soul that you forgive them. You ain't gotta convince a damn soul that you forgive them. The only one that truly needs to understand that you forgiving them is God and yourself. You forgiving them. You forgiving people. But forgiveness and reconciliation is not the same thing. And because they do not have the forgiveness and understand the value of it, they will always make terrible decisions. They will always make decisions that they're foolish. Foolish people play foolish games and they get foolish prizes, and then when they get these foolish prizes, they want to sit around, boo-hoo, weep, and cry all damn day for the choices that they've made. They want to go over there and act funny, do all this manner of evil towards you, and then acting like they don't understand why you cut them off or you treat them in the way that you do. And then they'll come around and try to manipulate you if you allow it. They'll try to manipulate you through other people if you allow it, trying to pretend as though that you're so called harder and you're not forgiven of them. They'll never explain what they do. They'll always shoo, put it down, minimize it, and act like it didn't even happen, and that you're just tripping. But that's why you got to be understand that who you are and understand what has happened and be very clear minded. So in all, forgive them, but understand where is the basis, where are they standing, what ground are they standing on? Are they standing on the human ground, meaning that every human has a different opinion about what forgiveness is, or are they standing on the solid foundation like with God? And that's it. That's up for you to understand and what you to discern. So with all that being said, I catch you on the flip side. Peace.